Welcome, dear friend. Tonight, you are here to rest, to find comfort, and to gently let go of the weight of the day. This is not just a story time, and not only a teaching of the Buddha. It is an invitation to soften, to breathe, and to allow yourself to be held in the calm presence of timeless wisdom. As you listen, I invite you to find a comfortable place. Let your body settle. If you are lying down, feel the support beneath you, holding you without effort. If you are sitting, allow your shoulders to drop, your hands to rest lightly, your breath to flow at its own pace. There is nothing to do, nothing to achieve, nowhere else you need to be. Take a slow, gentle breath in and release it slowly, like a cloud dissolving into the vast sky. Again, breathe in peace and breathe out whatever burdens you carried with you into this moment. This journey tonight will be woven with ancient stories of compassion. They are simple, but they carry the fragrance of truth, reminders that kindness, patience, and understanding are the most natural medicines of the heart. These stories are not to be studied or analyzed. Instead, let them flow into your mind like a lullaby, soft and steady. Allow them to settle deep within, where they may blossom gently in their own time. If thoughts arise, that is all right. Do not push them away. Let them come and let them drift as leaves floating on a quiet stream. You do not need to hold on. You do not need to fight them. This space is safe. This space is soft. Feel the breath once again, in and out, each inhale like a wave arriving at the shore, each exhale like the wave returning, leaving the sand smooth and calm. As you rest here, your heart is open to receive. And tonight, we will walk together into 10 gentle stories. Stories of the Buddha, of his disciples, of ordinary people touched by extraordinary compassion. Each story carries a gift. Each story is a lamp to guide your spirit toward stillness. Let us begin this journey now, slowly, peacefully. You may allow your eyelids to grow heavy if they wish. Let the words wash over you like warm rain on a quiet evening. There is nothing to remember, nothing to hold on to. Only this moment, only this breath, only the softness of kindness surrounding you. So, dear friend, let us step into the first story. The Buddha and the Angry Elephant. Long ago, when the Buddha walked among the people of ancient India, villages often became silent whenever he passed by. Some bowed deeply, grateful to see him. Some offered food and flowers, but not all hearts were gentle. There were also those who feared his presence, those who carried envy and anger, unable to accept the calm strength that shone from him. Among them was Devadatta, a cousin of the Buddha. Devadatta's mind was restless with jealousy. He wished to harm the Buddha, to break his peace, and so he devised a cruel plan. In the city of Rajagaha, there was an elephant named Nalagiri, huge, powerful, and feared by everyone. When intoxicated, Nalagiri became violent, destroying anything in its path. Devadatta whispered to the keepers of the elephant, instructing them to give it strong drink, to drive it mad, and to release it at the very moment the Buddha would be walking down the street. The sun rose high that day. The dusty road stretched through the city. Men, women, and children gathered to see the Buddha and his monks approaching with quiet steps. But in the distance came a sound that shook the ground, an echo of thunder. It was the roar of Nalagiri. The massive beast charged forward, its eyes bloodshot, its tusks sharp, its trunk swinging like a whip. The earth trembled beneath each heavy step. People screamed, mothers pulled their children away. Merchants dropped their baskets and ran for shelter. The disciples of the Buddha trembled in fear, wanting to protect their teacher. Yet the Buddha remained still. His robe fluttered softly in the breeze. His face was calm, as though he were gazing upon a lotus blooming in the sun. The elephant rushed closer, dust swirling around its mighty legs. But in the middle of the chaos, the Buddha raised one hand, not to strike, not to defend, but to bless. His eyes were filled with boundless compassion, steady and serene, like the moon reflected in still water. He spoke in a voice both firm and gentle, a voice that carried through the noise. May you be well, Nalagiri. May you be free from harm. May you be free from fear. May you be peaceful. The raging elephant slowed. Its ears, once flapping wildly, grew still. Its trunk lowered toward the ground. The madness in its eyes softened, as if clouds of anger had parted, revealing the clear sky of peace. Step by step, the giant beast approached, but not with fury. It lowered its head before the Buddha, kneeling quietly at his feet. In that moment, the city fell silent. What no chain, no weapon, no soldier could accomplish, compassion alone had achieved. The elephant, feared by all, was tamed not by force, but by love. The Buddha gently placed his hand upon Nalagiri's head. He did not see a beast. He did not see an enemy. He saw only a living being, lost in suffering, now touched by peace. The people who witnessed this wept in awe. Many bowed down, realizing the lesson unfolding before their eyes. They understood that true strength is not found in violence, but in compassion. True courage is not in striking back, but in meeting hatred with love. Dear friend, as you listen to this story tonight, let your own heart soften. Perhaps within you, there are also storms, moments of anger, stress, or fear. They may feel as fierce as Nalagiri, charging uncontrollably through your mind. And yet, you have within you the same strength that the Buddha carried, the strength of compassion. Take a slow breath in and a gentle breath out. With each inhale, invite kindness into your heart. With each exhale, release the heavy burdens you no longer need to carry. Imagine that wild elephant within you, restless and unsettled. Now picture it meeting your own compassion, the calmness of your breath, the warmth of your love. See how it slows down. See how it bows, surrendering to peace. The lesson of Nalagiri is not far away. It is here, now. When you face anger in others, when you feel turmoil inside yourself, you can remember, compassion is the greatest strength. It can calm storms. It can heal wounds. It can tame the fiercest of beasts. Rest with this truth for a moment. Breathing in, kindness fills you. Breathing out, peace surrounds you. Breathing in, your heart is gentle. Breathing out, your mind is calm. And now, dear friend, as you lie in comfort, let this story cradle you like a gentle lullaby. All is safe. All is still. Compassion watches over you, like the Buddha standing calmly before the storm. When you are ready, we shall continue on to the next story. Another soft light to guide you deeper into peace. Visakha, the generous lady. In the city of Savatthi, there lived a noblewoman named Visakha. From the time she was a young girl, she carried within her a heart overflowing with kindness. Unlike many who sought wealth for themselves, Visakha found her joy in giving. Her home was always open, her hands always ready to offer food, water, or shelter to those in need. One morning, as she walked through the busy streets of the city, she saw a group of monks carrying their alms bowls. The people were rushing about, merchants shouting prices, children laughing, ox carts rolling past. But Visakha's attention was drawn to the monks. She felt a quiet reverence in their presence, as though they carried with them the fragrance of peace. She approached with a gentle smile and offered food to them. Not with pride, not with the hope of reward, but with a heart full of devotion. The monks accepted silently, their eyes lowered in gratitude. From that day onward, Visakha resolved to support the Sangha, the community of monks and nuns, for as long as she lived. Her generosity was not a single act, but a way of being. Every day, she prepared meals for hundreds, Every day, she ensured that those who were sick, poor, or lonely would find comfort at her home. She built monasteries where monks could rest, gardens where people could find shade, wells where travelers could drink. To her, giving was as natural as breathing. But Visakha's compassion was not only for those she loved. Even when others wronged her, she chose kindness. Once, a servant in her household broke an expensive jar. The other servants trembled, fearing that punishment would be harsh. Yet Visakha only smiled. "The jar is broken," she said softly. "Let us not break a heart as well." With those words, she reminded everyone that forgiveness is more precious than wealth. When people asked why she gave so much, Visakha answered simply, "Just as the rain nourishes the earth without choosing where to fall, so should compassion flow without limit." The Buddha himself praised her. He said that her generosity was like a river, flowing endlessly, bringing life wherever it touched. Her kindness was not bound by age or circumstance. Even as she grew older, her eyes remained bright, her hands always open to give, and yet she never clung to her gifts. She knew that all things are impermanent: gold, jewels, fine clothing, even health and beauty. None of these could be held forever. But the act of giving, the joy of easing another's suffering, that was timeless. That was a treasure death could never take away. Dear friend, as you hear the story of Visakha, allow her spirit of generosity to touch your heart. In this world, we often hold tightly, clutching to possessions, to worries, to fears. But like Visakha, you can learn the freedom of letting go. Take a slow breath in and release it gently. With the breath in, imagine light filling your chest. With the breath out, imagine that light flowing outward, blessing the world around you. Even if you do not give gold or food, you can give a smile. You can give patience. You can give a gentle word at the right moment. Compassion is not measured by wealth, but by intention. One kind thought, sincerely given, can be as vast as an ocean. As you rest now, let yourself feel that vastness. Feel the softness of your own breath, the natural kindness within you. Perhaps there is someone in your life who needs compassion, perhaps even yourself. Tonight, you can offer it silently from the stillness of your heart. Visakha's life reminds us that generosity is not an effort, but a joy. It is not a duty, but a freedom. And when compassion flows from us like rain, the world is refreshed, and so are we. Rest in this truth, dear friend. Breathing in, you are nourished by kindness. Breathing out, you nourish the world with peace. The night is quiet, your body is at ease, and compassion surrounds you like a warm blanket. All is well. And now, let us slowly continue to the next story. Another step into the gentle garden of compassion. The parable of the raft, compassion as a bridge. One afternoon, under the golden light of the setting sun, the Buddha walked quietly with a group of monks. They followed a dusty path that led to the edge of a wide river. The water sparkled as it flowed, carrying fallen leaves downstream. The sound of the current was gentle, like a lullaby sung by the earth itself. The monks walked in silence, but inside their hearts were many questions. They often wondered about the meaning of the teachings. Were they permanent truths to hold tightly forever? Or were they simply tools to guide the journey? When they reached a large banyan tree on the riverbank, they bowed to the Buddha. One monk, gathering courage, asked softly, "Blessed One, how should we hold your words? Are they to be clung to always, or are they to be released?" The Buddha sat down beneath the tree, the shade wrapping around him like a soft robe. For a moment, he watched the flowing water. Then he began to speak in his calm, clear voice. "Monks, imagine a man standing on this shore of the river. This side is dangerous, full of thorns, wild animals, and fear. On the far shore, however, lies safety, fields rich with food, villages of peace, a place of rest. But there is no bridge and no boat. The man thinks to himself, 'I must cross. Let me gather branches, reeds, and vines. Let me build a raft.' With patience, he ties the raft together. Then, holding it close, he pushes it into the water. He paddles with his hands and feet, steady and determined, until at last he reaches the far shore. There, he finds safety and peace." The monks listened closely. The Buddha's eyes softened as he continued. "Now imagine this man, filled with gratitude. He says to himself, 'This raft has carried me across. I must honor it. I will carry it on my back wherever I go.' So he lifts it, heavy and awkward, and struggles forward with it. Tell me, monks, is this man wise, or is he foolish?" The monks answered together, "He is foolish, Blessed One. The raft was useful for crossing, but once he has reached safety, he should set it down." The Buddha smiled. "Just so. In the same way, monks, my teachings are like a raft. They carry you from danger to safety, from suffering to freedom. But once you have crossed, You must not cling. Do not carry the raft on your back. Let it go. The monks bowed, their minds quiet. In that moment, they understood even the most precious teaching is not a possession. It is not a burden to hold, but a guide to freedom. Yet within this parable, there is also compassion. For the Buddha did not speak only of one man crossing the river. He spoke of rafts that can carry many. In the same way, compassion is like a raft we build for ourselves and for others. Dear friend, as you hear this story, imagine the river in your own life. Perhaps there are fears or troubles on one shore, and you long for peace on the other. Perhaps you have already built rafts, habits, beliefs, or memories that helped you survive. But once you arrive, you need not carry them forever. You can thank them and gently set them down. Take a slow, deep breath in and let it flow out softly, like a ripple across the river. Again, breathe in calmness and breathe out the burdens that weigh you down. With each breath, imagine you are stepping onto the safe shore. With each exhale, you leave behind the sharp rocks and thorns. You do not need to struggle. You do not need to cling. You are carried and you are free. And remember, compassion is not only a raft for you, it can be a raft for others. A kind word may carry someone across a day of sorrow. A gentle smile may carry someone through loneliness. Even your quiet presence may be the raft that helps another reach safety. The river keeps flowing. It does not stop. It does not cling. It moves gently, steadily, carrying everything onward. Let your heart be like this river. Let compassion flow through you without grasping, without fear. Breathe in light and peace. Breathe out softness and letting go. Breathe in the safety of the far shore. Breathe out gratitude for the raft that carried you here. This is the truth of the Buddha's parable. Teachings, possessions, even our struggles, they are not meant to be held forever. They are the raft. They serve their purpose, and then they can be released. What remains is freedom. What remains is peace. Rest now, dear friend, in the quiet river of your breath. Feel the gentle current of compassion within you. You are safe. You are carried. You are free. And now, softly, we will continue to the next story. Another gentle light to guide your path into stillness. The Buddha and Devadatta, compassion toward an enemy. In the time of the Blessed One, there was a man who carried both kinship and rivalry within his heart. His name was Devadatta, cousin of the Buddha. From youth, Devadatta had trained alongside other noble families, learning discipline, strength, and skills. Yet, unlike the Buddha, whose heart blossomed with compassion, Devadatta's heart grew tangled with envy. When the Buddha gained followers, spreading peace wherever he went, Devadatta felt overshadowed. Instead of admiration, he felt bitterness. Instead of respect, he desired power. He wished to lead the Sangha himself, not through wisdom, but through ambition. One day, Devadatta approached the Buddha and demanded leadership. With gentle firmness, the Buddha refused, saying the Sangha could only be led by one free of greed, hatred, and delusion. This refusal wounded Devadatta's pride. Anger hardened within him, and he vowed to harm the Buddha. He tried many times. First, he hurled a great rock from a cliff, hoping it would strike the Buddha below. The rock shattered, but only a small fragment touched the Buddha's foot, drawing a drop of blood. Instead of anger, the Buddha spoke words of patience. Hatred is never overcome by hatred. Only by love is hatred overcome. Another time, Devadatta released a wild elephant, Nalagiri, to trample the Buddha. Yet, as you have heard before, the Buddha stood calmly, radiating compassion. The elephant bowed before him, transformed by kindness. Devadatta's schemes did not end there. He divided monks with false words. He tried to poison the Buddha's food, yet each attempt failed, not because the Buddha resisted with force, but because he met hostility with compassion, deception with truth, cruelty with forgiveness. Those who followed the Buddha wondered, why does the Blessed One show compassion to Devadatta, even when he tries to harm him? The Buddha replied softly, Devadatta, though lost in anger now, is still my kinsman. In a distant future, he too will find awakening. He too will walk the path of peace. To meet anger with anger is to add fire to fire. To meet anger with compassion is to turn fire into light. Dear friend, as you listen to this story, notice how your own heart responds. Perhaps there are people in your life who have hurt you. Perhaps you carry memories of betrayal, disappointment, or harsh words. These wounds can feel heavy, like sharp stones pressed against your chest. But what happens if, instead of holding these stones, you set them down? What happens if you look upon those who hurt you not as enemies, but as beings still caught in their own suffering? Take a slow, gentle breath in and a soft breath out. Inhale and feel space opening within your heart. Exhale and release the tightness of resentment. It does not mean you must approve of their actions. It does not mean you must invite harm again. Compassion is not weakness. Compassion is clarity. It is the freedom to see beyond anger, to recognize the pain in others, and to respond without hatred. The Buddha's compassion toward Devadatta shows us that even those who oppose us are not beyond the possibility of change. Devadatta, though blinded by envy, was still a seed of awakening waiting for its season. In the same way, those who wound us are also carrying their own storms. When we answer them with compassion, we choose not to carry their darkness within us. We choose peace. So rest now, dear friend. Breathe in forgiveness. Breathe out release. Breathe in compassion. Breathe out peace. Let your heart be light, like the Buddha's, untouched by the weight of anger. Even if the world sends you stones, you need not hold them. You can let them fall into the river, carried away by the current of time. This story is not only about Devadatta, it is about each of us. For within us all, there may be moments of envy, anger, or pride. Yet within us also lies the Buddha's compassion, the power to turn fire into light, hatred into love. Rest with this truth gently as the night deepens around you. You are safe. You are free. You are surrounded by compassion. And now, let us walk together into the next story. Another gentle reflection of kindness. The offering of grass, a humble act of compassion. On the eve of his great awakening, Siddhartha Gautama, who would soon become the Buddha, sat in quiet determination beneath the spreading branches of the Bodhi tree. For 6 long years, he had wandered as a seeker, practicing austerities so severe that his body was weak and thin. Yet on that night, his spirit was steady. He knew the time had come to turn inward, to face the truth directly, and to discover the path beyond suffering. The forest was still. The air was cool, filled with the fragrance of earth after a soft rain. The stars shone like distant lamps, watching silently. Even the animals seemed hushed, as if they, too, were waiting for something extraordinary to unfold. As Siddhartha prepared to sit in meditation, a humble villager passed by. He was neither rich nor powerful. His clothes were worn, and his hands bore the marks of labor. He had no jewels, no gold, no great treasures to offer. Yet when he saw Siddhartha beneath the Bodhi tree, something stirred within his heart. He thought, "This holy man is seeking truth, not for himself alone, but for all beings. I wish to honor him, to give him what little I can." Looking around, the villager noticed a small patch of kusa grass growing by the roadside. It was simple, ordinary, perhaps overlooked by others, but to him it seemed precious. With gentle hands, he gathered the grass, tied it into a neat bundle, and approached Siddhartha. Bowing deeply, he placed the bundle at the base of the Bodhi tree. His voice was soft, almost trembling as he spoke. "Holy One, I have nothing fine to give. Please accept this humble grass. May it serve as your seat. May it bring you comfort as you search for truth." Siddhartha looked upon the villager with gratitude. He saw not the poverty of the gift, but the purity of the heart behind it. With a serene smile, he accepted the kusa grass. Spreading it beneath him, he sat down in meditation, cross-legged and unshaken. That night, as the stars wheeled overhead, Siddhartha entered the deepest stillness. By dawn, he had realized the fullness of awakening. He became the Buddha, the enlightened one. Later, when he recalled this moment to his disciples, the Buddha reminded them, "It is not the size of the gift that matters, but the heart that gives it." The villager gave from pure intention, without pride, without expectation. Such giving is greater than gold. Thus, the humble kusa grass became part of the great story of enlightenment. Dear friend, let this story rest gently within you. We often believe compassion must be grand, that kindness must arrive in mighty forms. But the truth is far simpler. Even the smallest act, given sincerely, can carry immeasurable power. Perhaps you too have felt this. The comfort of a smile when your heart was heavy, the warmth of a gentle word offered in silence, the relief of a hand resting softly on your shoulder. These gestures are not large, yet they are like kusa grass, simple, humble, and deeply nourishing. Take a slow breath in and let it out softly. Again, breathe in and release. With each inhale, imagine gathering the simple gifts of life: a smile, a kind glance, a patient pause. With each exhale, imagine offering these gifts freely, without needing anything in return. Even now, as you listen, you are practicing compassion. By giving your presence to this moment, by allowing your heart to soften, you are offering kindness to yourself and to the world. Remember, compassion is not measured by wealth. The villager did not need jewels to honor the Buddha. You do not need riches to bring light to another. A whisper of encouragement, a moment of listening, the choice to forgive, these are treasures beyond measure. And just as the villager's offering became the seat for enlightenment, your small acts of compassion may also become the ground upon which others find peace. You may never know the full impact of your kindness. You may never see how far it travels. Yet every gentle action ripples outward, touching lives you cannot imagine. So rest, dear friend, in this truth. You already carry within you the power to give. Every breath is a gift. Every thought of kindness is an offering. Every act of compassion is kusa grass laid beneath the feet of awakening. Breathe in and feel the quiet strength of compassion. Breathe out and let it flow beyond you, blessing the world. Breathe in, receiving the gifts you have been given. Breathe out, offering them back freely, joyfully. As the night deepens and your body grows heavy with rest, remember this simple truth. The smallest kindness, given with sincerity, holds infinite value. You do not need to strive. You do not need to prove. Simply give what you can from the heart, and it is enough. Now, let us continue gently, walking together into the next story. Another light of compassion to guide us into stillness. Patience with insults, the Buddha and the angry man. It was a warm afternoon when the Buddha arrived in a small village with his disciples. The dusty road stretched before them, shaded here and there by tall trees. Birds sang softly in the distance, and children paused in their play to watch the serene figure pass by. Wherever the Buddha went, people often gathered, some out of curiosity, some with reverence, some simply wishing to hear words that soothed their restless hearts. On this day, however, among the crowd stood a man whose heart was filled not with peace, but with anger. He had heard tales of the Buddha, of his wisdom and compassion. People called him the Enlightened One, the teacher of gods and men. Instead of feeling inspired, jealousy stirred within the man's chest. He thought, why do so many praise him? He eats food offered by others. He owns nothing. He does no labor. And yet he is honored more than kings. Why should this wanderer be so respected? Driven by envy, the man stepped forward. His voice was sharp, cutting through the gentle murmurs of the villagers. You are nothing but a beggar in robes. You live off the work of others. You deceive these people with empty words. You deserve no respect, no honor. The villagers gasped. Mothers pulled their children closer. Some lowered their eyes in shame at the harshness of his tone. The disciples of the Buddha tensed, their hearts aching to protect their teacher. Yet the Buddha did not flinch. His gaze remained soft, his breath steady, as though the storm of insults were nothing more than dry leaves falling upon a quiet pond. The man grew louder, his anger rising like fire fed by wind. He hurled insult after insult, his face red, his fists clenched. He wished to wound, to provoke, to see the Buddha shaken. But no matter how fierce his words, the Buddha stood unmoved, like a mountain rooted deep in the earth. Finally, the man paused, panting from the force of his rage. The air was heavy with silence. Then the Buddha spoke, his voice calm and gentle, carrying no trace of anger. "Friend, may I ask you a question?" The man frowned, but nodded. "If someone offers a gift and it is not accepted, to whom does the gift belong?" The man replied, still confused, "It remains with the one who offered it." The Buddha smiled softly. "Just so. You have offered me your anger, but I do not accept it. Therefore, it remains with you. It is not mine to carry." The villagers murmured in awe. The man who moments ago had shouted with fury now stood silent, his anger dissolving like mist under the morning sun. He realized that his insults had not harmed the Buddha. They had only weighed heavily upon himself. Dear friend, let this story sink gently into your heart. There may be times in your life when harsh words are thrown at you. Someone may misunderstand you, or envy you, or carry their own pain and try to place it upon your shoulders. Their words may sting, their tone may cut, but remember, you do not have to accept what they give. Take a slow, deep breath in and let it out softly. Again, inhale and exhale. With each breath, imagine anger falling away, like dust brushed gently from your skin. Imagine harsh words drifting past you like clouds, unable to linger, unable to stain the clear sky of your heart. When you do not cling to anger, it cannot harm you. When you do not grasp insults, they return to where they came from. You remain free, light, unburdened. The Buddha taught that hatred is never ended by hatred, but only by love. To meet anger with anger is to add fuel to fire. To meet anger with patience is to let the flame die out. Picture yourself now as a still lake. Even when storms rage above, the depths remain quiet. Ripples may dance upon the surface, but the calm below is untouched. So too can your heart remain steady, no matter what words strike the air around you. Rest now in this truth. Breathing in, you are calm. Breathing out, you are free. Breathing in, you let go of what is not yours. Breathing out, you rest in compassion's embrace. You do not need to carry the stones others throw. You do not need to hold their burdens. You can let them fall away while you continue walking gently on the path of peace. This is the strength of patience, not weakness, but courage. The power to remain unshaken, the wisdom to release what is not yours, the compassion to see that those who wound you are themselves wounded. As night deepens, let this story wrap around you like a blanket of stillness. You are safe. You are calm. You are free from the weight of others' anger. Now, dear friend, let us step softly into the next story, another reflection of compassion's endless light. Impermanence, the withered flower. The morning sun rose gently over the forest. A soft golden light filtered through the tall trees, casting long shadows across the path. Birds sang in the canopy above, and the air was fresh with the scent of dew on leaves. The Buddha and his disciples walked together in silence, their bare feet pressing lightly upon the earth. After some time, they came upon a pond, its surface still and clear, reflecting the sky. There, at the water's edge, grew a lotus flower. Its petals were wide open, shining with morning dew, glowing as though lit from within. The disciples paused, marveling at its beauty. "How pure it looks," one whispered. "How delicate," said another. The Buddha stood quietly, his gaze resting on the flower. He smiled, but said nothing, and then continued walking. A few days later, they passed the pond again. The same lotus stood there, but it was no longer the same. Its petals had begun to curl, its bright color had softened, and its fragrance was fading. The monks noticed and felt a tinge of sadness. Something so lovely was already losing its glow. The Buddha turned to them and spoke. "You see, friends, even the most beautiful things must change." This flower was fresh and radiant, and now it begins to wither. All things are like this, arising, staying for a time, and passing away. A week later, they returned once more. The flower had fallen completely. Only the stem remained, bent and brown. Its petals lay scattered upon the water, carried by the current to places unseen. The monks looked quietly at the empty stalk, remembering its earlier beauty. The Buddha said softly, "This is the truth of impermanence. Whatever is born will fade. Whatever begins will end. To cling is to suffer. To understand impermanence is to live with peace." Dear friend, let this image rest gently in your heart. Impermanence is not meant to bring sorrow, but freedom. When we see that everything changes, we no longer grasp so tightly. We no longer fear the passing of time. We learn to cherish the present, knowing it is precious because it will not last. Think of your own life. The child you once were has grown into who you are now. The laughter, the tears, the worries of yesterday, they have all flowed away, just like petals drifting upon water. Even this very breath is impermanent, arriving, staying for a moment, then fading into the next. Let us breathe together now. Take a slow, gentle breath in and release it softly. Again, inhale and exhale. Feel the breath like the blooming of the lotus, rising, unfolding, alive. Feel the exhale like the falling of petals, natural, effortless, returning to the earth. With each breath, remember, change is not an enemy. Change is life itself. The monks who witnessed the lotus learned not to cling. They understood that the flower's beauty was precious precisely because it could not remain. In the same way, our joys, our sorrows, our very lives, all are fleeting and therefore sacred. The Buddha's compassion lies here. He wished his disciples not to suffer when things passed away. He wanted them to see that everything, even loss, is part of the great cycle. What fades makes room for what will bloom again. What ends becomes the seed of a new beginning. Dear friend, perhaps you carry memories of something you have lost, a loved one, a time of youth, a dream that slipped away. Hold them gently as you would hold a fallen petal. See their beauty and then let them rest. Nothing is truly lost. Everything transforms. Take another slow breath in. Breathing in, you welcome this moment. Breathing out, you release your grasp. Breathing in, you accept change. Breathing out, you find peace. As night surrounds you, imagine the lotus once more. First blooming, then fading, then returning to the earth. See how natural, how gentle the cycle is. Let your own breath join this rhythm, rising and falling, beginning and ending, again and again. You are safe in this flow. You are free in this truth. Impermanence is not a burden, but a gift, reminding you to love deeply, forgive easily, and let go gracefully. Now, dear friend, rest in this wisdom. And when you are ready, let us step into the next story, another gentle light of compassion to guide you deeper into peace. Kind Speech, the Buddha and the Words of Honey. One afternoon, the Buddha sat beneath a great tree, surrounded by his disciples. The shade was wide and cool, the breeze carrying the fragrance of blossoms drifting down from the branches. Birds sang quietly above, their notes weaving with the hush of the forest, as though even the smallest creatures wished to listen. A young monk bowed and asked, "Blessed One, we have learned of right action, right thought, and right livelihood. But what of speech? How should we use our words? What makes speech truly right? The Buddha's eyes softened. He remained silent for a moment, watching the play of sunlight on the grass. Then he said, "Monks, words are powerful. They can cut deeper than a sword, or soothe like a mother's embrace. Harsh speech burns the heart, but kind speech heals. A careless tongue can cause great harm, but gentle words are like honey, sweet and nourishing, remembered long after they are spoken." To make the teaching clear, the Buddha shared a story. There was once a merchant who traveled across many lands. His pack was filled with goods, fine cloth, fragrant spices, shining jewels. But his greatest treasure was not what he carried on his back. His greatest treasure was his voice. The merchant had learned the art of kind speech. Wherever he went, he greeted people with warmth. To children, he spoke with playfulness. To elders, with respect. To strangers, with sincerity. When he bargained, he did not deceive. Instead, he said, "May this trade be fair, bringing joy to us both." Because his words were gentle, people trusted him. Because his words were honest, people returned to him. Soon, he was welcomed in every village, not just as a merchant, but as a friend. But there was another merchant, a rival, who grew jealous. This man relied on harshness and trickery. His words were sharp, his tongue quick to cut. At first, he seemed clever, demanding higher prices, cheating those who trusted him. But his success was brief. People grew weary of his cruelty. They avoided his stalls, refusing to deal with a man whose voice left wounds instead of comfort. In time, the kind merchant thrived, not because he had more goods, but because his words carried the sweetness of honey. His speech was a gift that lingered in the hearts of all who met him. The Buddha looked at his disciples and said, "Just as honey is delightful upon the tongue, so too are words that are gentle and true. Speak only what is kind. Speak only what is useful. Speak only what brings peace." Dear friend, as you listen to this story tonight, let its truth settle softly within you. Perhaps you remember a time when harsh words wounded you. Words that lingered long after they were spoken. And perhaps you remember also a time when gentle words lifted your heart. Words that felt like cool water on a hot day, or like the shade of a tree after a long walk. Take a slow breath in and release it softly. Again, breathe in and out. With each inhale, imagine kindness filling your chest, warm and golden. With each exhale, imagine that kindness flowing outward, carried upon your words, touching all those around you. Compassion is not found only in what we do with our hands or give from our homes. It is also found in our speech. A soft word can ease fear. A patient word can heal anger. A truthful word can guide someone lost in confusion. And sometimes, the kindest speech is silence. The silence that listens deeply, offering presence instead of judgment. Think for a moment of those in your life. Is there someone who waits for your encouragement? Someone who longs to hear that they are loved? Someone who needs a voice that soothes instead of wounds? You carry that gift already. Your words can be medicine. Your voice can be a gentle shelter. Now, breathe again. Breathing in, receive the kindness spoken to you in the past. Breathing out, prepare to offer kindness through your own words. Breathing in, you fill yourself with peace. Breathing out, you send that peace into the world. The Buddha's compassion shines through this teaching. He wished us to use speech not as a weapon, but as a bridge, not to divide, but to unite, not to wound, but to heal. So, dear friend, as you rest tonight, imagine your words as drops of honey, golden, sweet, and healing. Imagine them flowing into the world, bringing comfort to those who hear them. Even in silence, you can carry the sweetness of kind speech within your heart. The night is quiet. Your body is heavy with rest. Your breath flows gently, like a soft stream in the dark. Let this story linger with you, reminding you that words shape the world. Choose those that carry compassion, and you will bring sweetness wherever you go. And now, let us continue to the next story, another reflection of compassion's gentle light. Simplicity, the Buddha, and the wooden bowl. In the great city of Rajagaha, the Buddha once stayed with his disciples. The streets were alive with sound, merchants calling their prices, children running with laughter, ox carts rolling over the stones. Yet, amid this busy life, the Buddha's presence brought a hush, like a cool breeze passing through a crowded market. Nobles and wealthy merchants came to see him. They arrived with splendid offerings, golden bowls filled with fragrant rice, robes woven from silk, jars of sweet honey and milk. Their gifts gleamed beneath the sun, drawing admiration from the crowd. Each hoped to show devotion through wealth, and each offering was placed respectfully before the Blessed One. Far from this gathering, a poor farmer heard the news. His life was plain and difficult. He rose before dawn each day, his hands hardened by the plow, his back bent beneath the sun. He owned no gold, no silk, no treasures to present. Yet when he heard the Buddha was nearby, his heart filled with a longing to give. He thought, "How can I approach the enlightened one with empty hands? I have nothing fine, nothing worthy, but perhaps even something small may carry meaning if it is given with love." Searching his humble home, he found a wooden bowl, old and worn. His father had carved it years ago, smoothing it with patience, using it each day for simple meals. The surface was scratched, the rim slightly chipped, but to the farmer, it was precious. He polished it as best he could, filled it with plain rice, nothing more than what he himself ate, and carried it carefully with both hands toward the city. When he arrived, the farmer saw the nobles laying their splendid gifts before the Buddha. For a moment, he felt shy, almost ashamed, holding only his little wooden bowl. Yet his devotion urged him forward. Kneeling low, he placed it at the Buddha's feet and whispered, "Blessed One, I have nothing of wealth. Please accept this rice in a wooden bowl. It is poor, but it is given with all my heart." The Buddha looked upon him with gentle eyes, and in that gaze, the farmer felt no shame, no smallness. The Buddha lifted the wooden bowl with the same reverence as if it were made of gold. Turning to the assembly, he said, "Do not measure a gift by its glitter or its size. A simple offering given with pure devotion is greater than a mountain of jewels given with pride. This bowl of rice, plain as it may seem, is rich with the farmer's compassion. It is more than enough." The nobles bowed their heads, their pride softened, and the farmer returned home with a light heart, knowing that his small gift had been received as though it were priceless. Dear friend, let this story rest within you. We live in a world that often measures worth by wealth, by possessions, by outward beauty. But the Buddha reminds us, true value lies not in what we give, but in the love with which we give it. Take a slow breath in and gently release it. Again, breathe in and breathe out. With each inhale, feel gratitude for the simple things in your life. With each exhale, let go of the craving for more. Think of the quiet treasures you already hold, the warmth of sunlight on your face, the sound of rain against the window, the comfort of your own breath. These are riches no gold can equal. The farmer's wooden bowl teaches us that simplicity is freedom. What is plain can still be precious. What is small can still be vast. When we act with sincerity, even the humblest gesture becomes sacred. Perhaps tonight you carry worries about not having enough wealth, enough success, enough recognition. Let this story whisper to you, you are already enough. Your kindness is enough. Your compassion is enough. Take another deep breath. Breathing in, you rest in the richness of simplicity. Breathing out, you release the burden of comparison. Breathing in, you welcome the fullness of this very moment. Breathing out, you know that this moment is complete. The Buddha's compassion embraced both kings with golden vessels and farmers with wooden bowls. To him, all sincere gifts were equal. And so it is with us. Our worth is not measured by wealth, but by the sincerity of our hearts. Rest now, dear friend, in the quiet joy of simplicity. Let your breath be your wooden bowl, humble, steady, carrying peace with every rise and fall. As the night deepens, may you find comfort in knowing that you already carry the greatest treasure, a heart capable of compassion. Now, let us walk gently into the next story, another light of compassion to guide you deeper into rest. Inner peace, the lute and the middle way. The day was ending, and the forest lay bathed in the soft glow of twilight. Long shadows stretched across the earth, and the sound of evening crickets rose gently into the air. A cool breeze stirred the leaves, carrying with it the fragrance of wild blossoms. Under a great tree, the Buddha sat quietly, surrounded by his disciples. Though the setting was calm, the monks were restless. Some had been pushing themselves too hard, practicing with fierce discipline, fasting, and denying their bodies rest. Their faces were thin, their eyes weary. Others, however, had grown lax, falling into comfort, allowing themselves to drift without effort. They wondered why peace seemed so distant, even as they followed the path. The Buddha, sensing the weight in their hearts, began to speak. His voice was gentle, steady, carrying through the stillness like the soft flow of a stream. Once, he said, there was a musician who played the lute with great skill. His melodies were known throughout the land. When he played, hearts grew calm, and even restless minds became still. One day, a student asked him, "Master, how do you make such beautiful music?" The musician answered, "If the strings are pulled too tight, they will snap. If the strings are too loose, they will not sound. Only when the strings are tuned, neither too tight nor too loose, does the lute sing in harmony." In the same way, monks, your practice must follow the middle way. If you pull too tightly, forcing, straining, you will break. If you leave your effort too loose, idle, careless, you will not awaken. But in balance, in harmony, peace arises naturally, like music flowing from a well-tuned lute. The disciples listened closely. Each felt the truth of these words. They remembered the extremes they had tried. nights of hunger, bodies trembling, minds exhausted. Others remembered long days of ease, wasted in distraction. Both paths had left them empty. Now they saw. The way forward was neither extreme, but balance. A path walked with patience, moderation, and kindness toward oneself. Dear friend, as you hear this story, let it touch your own life. Perhaps you too have felt the strings pulled too tight. Times when you pushed yourself without mercy, demanded too much, carried burdens too heavy. And perhaps you have also known the strings too loose. Days of drifting, letting purpose slip away, feeling lost. Take a slow, gentle breath in and let it flow out softly. Again, breathe in balance and breathe out release. With each inhale, imagine the strings of your life gently tuned. With each exhale, imagine harmony arising, clear and soft within you. Peace is not found by force, nor by neglect. It is not at the edges, but at the center. Inner peace arises when we walk steadily, neither too fast nor too slow, neither too tight nor too loose. It is not a prize to be seized, but the natural song of a balanced life. Picture yourself now as the lute. Your breath is the hand of the musician. Each inhale tightens slightly. Each exhale loosens gently. Slowly, with care, your whole being comes into tune. Listen inwardly. You may hear the quiet song of peace, steady, timeless, gentle as a lullaby. The Buddha's compassion shone through this teaching. He did not wish his disciples to suffer under the weight of extremes. He wanted them to walk a path that was gentle, balanced, filled with wisdom and kindness. A path that leads not to exhaustion, nor to idleness, but to freedom. Rest here for a moment, dear friend. Breathing in, you welcome balance. Breathing out, you release extremes. Breathing in, you are steady. Breathing out, you are free. The forest is quiet. The night is soft. Within you, the music of peace begins to play. Subtle, calming, carrying you deeper into stillness. But our journey does not end here. Just as the sound of the lute fades into silence, yet leaves the heart touched, so too does this story lead us forward. For compassion has many forms, and balance is but one. Ahead lies another story, one of gratitude and devotion, reminding us that peace is nourished not only by balance, but also by the heart's deep appreciation. Let us step gently now into the next story. Gratitude, the Buddha's visit to his father. After many years of teaching across kingdoms and forests, the Buddha returned to the city of Kapilavatthu, the place where he was born. His fame had spread far and wide. People spoke of the enlightened one, the teacher of gods and men, who walked barefoot from village to village, carrying only his robe and bowl, yet bringing peace to all who met him. But in the palace of Kapilavatthu, King Suddhodana, his father, waited with a heart both proud and heavy. Proud because his son had become revered throughout the world. Heavy because the son who once lived in silks and jewels had left it all behind, choosing the life of a monk. The king could not understand how the prince who might have ruled the land now wandered as a beggar with a bowl. When the Buddha arrived, the king saw him walking calmly through the streets, receiving alms with his disciples. His robe was plain, his eyes serene, his steps gentle and steady. Crowds bowed low, offering food and flowers. Yet the king's heart was troubled. He thought, "Is this truly the life my son has chosen?" Later, when they met in the palace, King Suddhodana could not hold back his feelings. He said, "My son, I am proud, yet also pained. You were born to rule, yet you wear robes of simplicity. You eat from a begging bowl. Why did you abandon the throne? Why do you live this way?" The Buddha listened quietly, his gaze filled with compassion. Then he answered softly, "Father, I left not out of disrespect, but out of devotion to truth. I sought not riches, but freedom from suffering, for myself and for all beings. A kingdom cannot last forever. Wealth and power fade like flowers in the sun. But the truth of compassion, the truth of awakening, is beyond time. You gave me life, Father, and for that I bow in gratitude, and I wish now to give something in return, not a throne, but the path to peace." Hearing these words, tears filled the king's eyes. For the first time, he saw not a prince who had abandoned his duty, but a son who carried love for all beings. In that moment, his pride transformed into deep respect, and his heart softened with understanding. Dear friend, this story carries the fragrance of gratitude. The Buddha did not forget his father. Even as an enlightened one, he returned to honor him, to bow, to share the truth he had discovered. Gratitude is not only about giving thanks for gifts received. It is about recognizing the roots of our life and honoring those who have nurtured us, even when they did not fully understand us. Take a slow, deep breath in and release it softly. Again, inhale gratitude. Exhale peace. With each breath in, think of those who have guided or supported you. Parents, teachers, friends, or even strangers who offered kindness along your path. With each breath out, send them silent thanks, letting your heart bow to their presence. The Buddha's compassion reminds us none of us walk this life alone. Every smile, every hand that has lifted us, every meal shared, every word of encouragement, these are gifts. To remember them is to keep our hearts soft, humble, and full of light. Perhaps tonight, as you rest, you can call to mind one person for whom you feel gratitude. Hold their image gently in your heart. Whisper silently, "Thank you." Allow that warmth to fill you, like gentle fire on a cool night. Rest here for a moment, breathing in gratitude, breathing out compassion. Breathing in, you honor the gifts you have received. Breathing out, you share that honor with the world. King Suddhodana eventually came to understand his son's path, and before his death, he too found peace in the teachings. This shows us that gratitude is not bound by agreement or perfection. Even when we live differently from those we love, we can still honor them, still bow to the roots from which we came. So, dear friend, let gratitude be your companion tonight. Let it soften your heart, ease your worries, and remind you that you are held in countless unseen ways. As the night deepens, breathe in thankfulness, breathe out peace. You are safe. You are guided. You are surrounded by love. And now, let us continue onward into the next story. The Cup of Tea, Peace in the Ordinary. The morning sun was soft as it rose over the quiet monastery garden. Light spilled gently across the grass, where dew still clung like tiny crystals. The breeze carried the fragrance of jasmine blossoms, and in the distance, birds sang their bright songs. It was a simple morning, yet it glowed with stillness. The Buddha sat beneath a tree, and around him moved the monks, some sweeping the courtyard, some preparing for alms. Among them was a young monk, troubled in spirit. Though his robes were neat and his steps careful, inside his mind whirled with restlessness. He had been practicing diligently for months, yet doubt filled him. At times, he felt ambition, wishing to reach enlightenment quickly, to be praised as wise. At other times, he grew weary, wondering if peace was beyond his grasp. His mind swung between striving and despair, never settling. Seeing this unease, the Buddha called him to sit. Between them was a small clay pot and 2 cups. The Buddha poured hot water over the leaves, and steam rose in gentle spirals. Handing the cup to the monk, he said only one word, "Drink." The monk lifted the cup. The tea was plain, neither sweet nor bitter. He swallowed slowly, feeling the warmth move through his chest. He looked up, waiting for profound teaching. The Buddha simply smiled and asked, "Do you notice the warmth? Do you taste the tea? That is enough." The monk frowned. "Master, is enlightenment truly so simple? Can peace be found in something as ordinary as a cup of tea?" The Buddha's gaze was steady, his words clear as water. Peace is not hidden in distant mountains, nor locked away in sacred texts. It is here, in each breath, in each step, in each sip of tea. When you drink tea, drink only tea. When you walk, walk only to walk. When you breathe, breathe only to breathe. The ordinary, when touched with mindfulness, becomes extraordinary. The young monk bowed, realizing how far he had wandered in search of what was already near. He saw that the tea, the breath, the morning light, all were gates to peace, waiting only for him to enter with awareness. Dear friend, this story is also for you. Perhaps you too have sought peace in the distant future, in great achievements, in moments yet to come. Yet the truth is simple. Peace is here, in the ordinary, waiting quietly in this very moment. Take a slow breath in and release it softly. Again, inhale and exhale. With each inhale, feel the freshness of the air, cool and alive. With each exhale, feel the soft release, as if you too are setting down a heavy cup after a long day. Even your breath is like tea, simple, present, nourishing. The Buddha's compassion in this teaching is gentle yet deep. He did not ask his disciples to perform miracles or climb mountains. He asked only that they return again and again to what is already here. The sip of tea, the step upon earth, the rise and fall of the chest, these are the doors to peace. So rest here for a while. Breathing in, you drink this moment fully. Breathing out, you taste its peace. Breathing in, you welcome the ordinary. Breathing out, you discover the extraordinary within it. Tonight, as you lie in stillness, let go of striving. Let go of chasing after tomorrow. This moment is enough. This breath is enough. You are enough. The cup of tea teaches us that peace is not something to be hunted or conquered. It is not a distant prize, but a gentle presence, waiting in the ordinary rhythm of life. When you touch it with awareness, even the smallest act becomes sacred. And yet, our journey of compassion continues. Just as the tea warms the body and calms the mind, so too do other stories remind us of the ways kindness flows in daily life. Ahead, lies another tale of humility, of gentleness, of compassion, lived in the simplest moments. So let us carry the warmth of this cup with us and step softly into the next story. Humility, the monk who bowed to a child. In the town of Savatthi, where the Buddha often stayed, people came daily to hear the Dharma. Among them were nobles and merchants, workers and farmers, men and women, young and old. All were welcome, for the Buddha's compassion was without boundary. One morning, as the monks went on their alms round, a small child stood by the roadside. She was poor, her clothes simple, her face streaked with dust. In her tiny hands, she held a single flower, plucked from the fields beyond the town. It was all she had to give. When the monks approached, she stepped forward shyly, her hands trembling, and offered the flower to the eldest monk at the front of the line. Some villagers laughed softly. What worth is a single wildflower compared to bowls filled with rice and gold coins? But the Buddha, who walked with the monks, saw the child clearly. He nodded for the elder monk to accept the gift. The monk bowed low, bowed not only to the flower, but to the heart that gave it. He placed the flower gently in his bowl, as though it were a priceless jewel. The child's eyes lit with joy. She smiled, her whole being brightened by the acceptance of her gift. Afterward, the disciples asked the Buddha why such honor was given to something so small. The Buddha replied, "It is not the size of the offering, but the purity of the heart that gives." A child's single flower, offered with love, shines brighter than gold given with pride. To bow to such sincerity is to bow to truth itself. The monks remembered this teaching always, for humility is not lowering oneself. It is recognizing the sacredness in every being, no matter how small. Dear friend, let this story rest gently in your heart. Perhaps you too have felt that what you can give is little, that your kindness is too small to matter. But know this: no gift of compassion is ever wasted. A smile, a gentle word, a moment of patience. These may be the very treasures someone else needs to survive the day. Take a slow, deep breath in and release it softly. Again, inhale and exhale. With each breath in, feel yourself receiving the gifts of others, their time, their presence, their care. With each breath out, feel yourself offering your own small kindnesses back into the world. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, but seeing clearly that we are all equal in worth. The Buddha bowed to kings and to children alike, not because of wealth or power, but because each heart carries the same capacity for compassion. So, when you meet someone tomorrow, whether they are high or low in the world's eyes. Remember the child with her single flower. See their humanity. See their sincerity. Bow inwardly, if not outwardly, and let your presence be soft. Rest here for a moment. Breathing in, you honor the small gifts you have received. Breathing out, you honor the small gifts you can give. Breathing in, you see equality. Breathing out, you feel peace. The villagers who once laughed at the child's flower later remembered it with awe. For in that simple act, they saw the Buddha's teaching alive, that humility and gentleness are stronger than pride and wealth. This truth is for us as well. Our lives are not measured by the size of our achievements, but by the sincerity of our hearts. So tonight, as you rest, let humility be your blanket, soft and steady. Let gentleness be your pillow, supporting you with ease. You need not strive to be great. You need only to be sincere. That is enough. And as we prepare to move forward, there remains one final story in this circle of compassion. Just as the flower in the child's hand carried deep meaning, so too does the last tale remind us of the peace found when we return fully to the present. Now, dear friend, let us step softly into the last story, where the journey will come to its gentle close. The Moon and the Still Lake, Reflection of Peace. It was a quiet night in the forest monastery. The monks had finished their evening chanting, and silence spread like a soft blanket over the land. The sky was clear, and the full moon rose high, casting silver light across the trees and ponds. The air was cool, touched by the fragrance of blossoms that opened only at night. The Buddha sat with his disciples near a small lake. The water was calm, reflecting the round moon perfectly, as though the sky itself had come to rest upon the earth. The monks gazed at the sight in awe. One said softly, "How beautiful the moon is tonight, and how still the water that reflects it." The Buddha looked upon the lake and said, "Just as the still water reflects the moon clearly, so too does a still mind reflect truth. When the surface is disturbed, the reflection is broken. But when the water is calm, nothing is missing, nothing is distorted." He continued, "In the same way, dear monks, peace is not found by chasing, nor by clinging. Peace arises when we allow the mind to settle, when we let go of agitation, when we live with compassion and balance. Then, like the lake, we reflect the beauty of the world clearly, just as it is." The monks bowed their heads, holding the image of the moonlit lake in their hearts. Dear friend, this story is also for you. Perhaps in your life, your mind has felt like a stormy lake, waves of worry, winds of fear, ripples of anger. In such moments, peace feels distant, just as the moon cannot be seen in disturbed water. But know this: beneath every storm, stillness. Beneath every ripple lies calm. The moon has always been there, waiting for the water to rest. In the same way, peace is already within you, waiting for your heart to grow quiet. Take a slow, deep breath in and let it out softly. Again, inhale calmness. Exhale release. With each breath in, imagine the surface of the lake growing smoother. With each breath out, imagine the moon's reflection shining more clearly. Soon, the ripples fade. The water is clear. The moon glows perfectly within it. And so your mind, too, becomes clear, reflecting peace, holding compassion, resting in stillness. The Buddha's compassion in this teaching is simple. You do not need to chase the moon. You only need to calm the water. You do not need to chase peace. You only need to let go, to soften, to return to the present breath. So rest here for a moment. Breathing in, you are still. Breathing out, you are free. Breathing in, you reflect peace. Breathing out, you shine compassion. The monks never forgot that night by the lake. Whenever their minds grew restless, they remembered the moon resting on the water, and peace returned. And so it is for you, dear friend. When restlessness comes, return to your breath. When fear rises, return to compassion. When the world feels heavy, remember the lake, remember the moon, remember that stillness is always within you. As our journey of 14 stories comes to a close, let this final image carry you. The quiet lake, the shining moon, the night wrapped in silence. Let it guide you gently into sleep, where dreams may be calm, where your heart may rest, where compassion continues to glow softly within you. Breathe one last time with me. Inhale peace. Exhale release. Inhale stillness. Exhale love. You are safe. You are calm. You are home. Dear friend, you have journeyed with me through 14 stories. Stories of compassion, patience, gratitude, humility, and peace. Each tale has carried a gentle light, like stars guiding us across the night sky. Now, as our journey comes to its close, you do not need to hold on to every word. You do not need to remember every detail. The stories have already done their work. They have softened your breath, calmed your heart, and guided your spirit toward stillness. Like petals falling gently upon water, let the stories drift away. Nothing is lost. Their fragrance remains in your heart, quiet and subtle, shaping your rest in ways unseen. Take a slow, deep breath in and release it gently. Again, breathe in and breathe out. With each inhale, you gather peace. With each exhale, you let go of worry. Breathing in, you feel safe. Breathing out, you feel free. All the teachings of the Buddha can be held in this simple rhythm. When you breathe in, you arrive in the present. When you breathe out, you release what you no longer need. This is enough. Nothing more is required. Perhaps your eyes are already heavy. Perhaps your body is sinking deeper into comfort. Let it be so. Allow the earth, the bed, the quiet around you to hold you. You do not need to hold yourself. You can rest. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within." Do not seek it without tonight. You have touched that peace. Not in faraway places, not in future dreams, but here, in the stillness of your own heart. So rest now, dear friend. Breathing in, you are surrounded by compassion. Breathing out, you drift gently into sleep. Rest in the kindness of the Buddha's words. Rest in the gentleness of your own breath. Rest in the boundless embrace of peace. The stories have ended, but the journey continues in your dreams. May those dreams be soft and full of light. May your sleep be deep and healing. May you wake tomorrow refreshed, your heart open, your spirit calm, ready to walk gently in the world. Breathe once more with me before we part for the night. Inhale, peace. Exhale, release. Inhale, compassion. Exhale, love. You are safe. You are calm. You are whole. Good night, dear friend. May you rest well. May you be free from suffering. May you be at peace always.